I usually do not read series. In fact, in my entire life, I've probably just read two or three series complete, including this. I've read Shades of Magic, The Raven Boys, and that's it. I haven't ever read the Chronicles of Narnia complete or the Anne of Green Gables, even though I really like those books. So I find series really exhausting and a huge investment of my time, which I'm not willing to give. But the Lunar Chronicles was such that I was very interested, very invested, and I enjoyed it thoroughly, and I want to mention it to you. So, Lunar Chronicles is there are a few things that you should know about the Lunar Chronicles. First of all, it is a retelling of old fairy tales, and with that, there's a sci-fi dystopian world that is mixed into it. It sounds really weird, but it was done so well by Marissa Meyer that I would highly recommend it. So the first book is Cinder, which is based on Cinderella. The second book is Scarlet, oops, which is based on Red Riding Hood. The third book is Cress, which is based on Rapunzel. And the fourth book is Winter, which is based on Snow White. So, starting with the first book, because that's the only book I'm going to tell you the premise of, so that you know what the series is about. I'm not going to talk about the other books in detail because I don't want to give away any spoilers. So, Cinder is about Cinderella, who is a cyborg. I know, that's weird. But she, okay, yeah, once you get over the initial shock of Cinderella being cyborg, you move on. And not only is Cinderella a cyborg, she's also a mechanic. She's a ward of this lady who has two daughters, obviously, in according to the fairy tale, the stepmother with the step sisters. And there's an epidemic going on around in this dystopian world, and it's killing a lot of people. And then there's Prince, who is trying to find the solution to this epidemic and trying to save his people. And obviously, he comes across Cinderella. And then there is the lunar people, who are basically people from the moon, and they have an evil queen who is trying to make everyone's life in the world very difficult. So it revolves around a lot of subject matters, but that's what you need for a series so that it stays interesting. Um, and then it continues really well. So the first book that I read, the Cinderella, I really liked the main character, which was Cinder. I liked a lot of characters. That Dr. Erland was really nice and interesting, um, and I really enjoyed the book. But I gave it, I think, 3 out of 5, or 4 out of 5. Sorry, I enjoyed it, and I was willing to know where it goes, but I wasn't sure if I'm going to enjoy the rest of the series. And then came along Scarlet. Scarlet is about Red Riding Hood, and there is Wolf, which is another interesting character. Um, and the story of Wolf is very interesting, actually. But I gave this book a 3 out of 5. I did not. I was just bored by Scarlet and Wolf. Then the third book was obviously Cress, which is about Rapunzel. I loved this book. This book I gave a 5 out of 5. It's a thick book. But I gave this a 5 out of 5. And that's because I loved Thorn. There's a character Thorn in it, which is introduced in the second book, Scarlet. But I loved him in this book. He had a meteor part in this, and especially the desert sequence that got me going. It was just wonderfully done. I loved this one. And then, of course, the last one, and the last one is around 830 pages, which is a lot, very thick. But by then, I was invested in all the characters, and I was invested in their stories, and they all, they all are left with, uh, you're waiting for the next one, and so I was interested in knowing where all these characters are going. Um, and I wanted to finish this. By the end, when I finished this, however, I gave this a 3 out of 5. So, only because it was too long. I think she could have cut it short and made it, tighter and nicer and juicier. But she decided to take it, you know, this long route, which can also be because she introduces a new character in it, Winter and Jason. So she probably needed the time to set those two characters up. However, I really, really enjoyed this series, and overall, I would give this series a 5 out of 5 because it was so much fun. It was a good read. Do not go for the language, do not go for the writing, do not go for the literature. Go for the fun that it will give you. Go for the joyride of reading and an adventure and characters and plot twists and just fun sequences. Really enjoyed the series and highly recommend to anyone who wants to read series and doesn't know where to begin. So yes, the Lunar Chronicles is the one for you. Thank you.